Very good morning to you. Sir Rick, Drive Safe Dave, coming to you. Drive Safe Dave, a phenomenal weekend again of football in which, yes, folks, if you don't know it, there's a new number one in the country. Roll Tide, that's all I got to say, Drive Safe.
Yes, and I did not predict this win, and I'll tell you what, they smashed them and grabbed them, and they deserve to be number one after taking off the number one ranked team.
Yeah, number three, they beat number one, they get number one. It was really a debate, right, on should it be Michigan or should it be that Roll Tide team. I'm just going to say my money would have been on Georgia to win that game. I hadn't seen Alabama play like they played this week.
They came to the game.
They did come to the game, and now they play number 4 seed in the playoffs, Cincinnati. So let's talk about this right now. Producer, I know we have some stats out there, and for those of you that follow this supply chain crisis that's going on, which is probably most of you to some degree.
Everybody in the country.
Well, here it is out, though. I mean, because what we believe, and we've seen some numbers that say that port, it's working. Numbers are looking better at the port of Louisiana or L.A., Los Angeles.
It's all a lie. It's all a lie. They're not looking better, are they?
They are not looking better. So they came in there, Drive Safe, with it's some kind of new safety and air quality area that extends 150 miles west of the ports and then 50 miles north and south of the ports that says, hey, you know what? We really don't want you in this zone in here because if you're in the zone, you affect that air quality. And so by default, only 40 ships are within the area. It looks, if you're sitting up there and you're looking out there at the ocean, you're only seeing 40 ships.
Not 77.
However, if you go just a little bit further, there's another 56 ships sitting out there waiting. And not to mention, listen to this, there's 31 of them sitting in the docks getting unloaded or getting reloaded, whatever they do out there. So you have 31 sitting, 40 right there within the area, and then just outside of the area that doesn't count when you're looking out there, there's another 56.
And also they're even slow rolling ships so that they don't burn as much fuel. They're just slow rolling them to the port across the Pacific so that they're not in any hurry to wait.
Drive Safe, as we've seen the volume, last week, I'll be honest with you, I got a little scared because the week before, we had talked about the volume last year, 15.8 after the peak season as far as tenders go. For those of you that are familiar with BCB Live, when we talk about the tenders, that's the amount of freight being sent over electronically, to carriers. So we had 15,800. We had the comeback last week, right? Because it's the week after the holiday, we start seeing the freight. And lo and behold, we did make it to that 15,000 mark, just barely over. But I figured it would be somewhere between 14,900 and 15,000. We did it 15,000-ish, and the volume is very high. If we look at that next screen, Drive Safe Dave, you're going to see what it looked like last year. So that green is where we were last year. So not much volume has changed. Freight's just going to continue to ship out, right? It's not going to jump. And I think we may not see the big dip we saw last year in the volume in the next couple of weeks. I think it'll kind of level out what you're saying. We'll see the dip for Christmas and New Year's, and then we'll see it come back in January, in which we believe, again, to expect a very strong first quarter for next year. Sometimes there's so much freight that it can, and it's not making you, but boy, it feels like it's forcing you to make perhaps a bad decision.
Right.
Be in a hurry, get in a rush, do something like that. Well, here's the story right here. And again, we're going to talk a little bit about this because I think it's really driving into a lot of information. So the article goes about this. So Triumph Logistics is the third-party logistics for Amazon. So if you're not aware of this, when you see all those Amazon vans out there, they're not Amazon employees. They're contract employees. Right? They're contract employees that are pulling Amazon trucks delivering freight
and
with Amazon
everything
in it. So Hearn, the gentleman on here, he does have PTSD. He's out driving in East Texas, Terrell, Texas area. So he's out driving and he gets pulled over like 3 times in the day. And I'm gonna see if I have. So the first time he pulled over, he got pulled over for reckless driving. Then he drove over to a customer house to deliver the load. Then gets stuck in the yard. They call 911. The officer goes out there, gives him a breathalyzer text and all this, and he's fine. But he goes, man, any chance you have PTSD? And he goes, well, yes, but I haven't had it for years. So the officer still feels a little concerned, lets him go. There's no reason to keep him there. He gets him a ticket, goes down the road. Now he's in the wrong lane. The officer does, again, I believe, the right thing, pulls him over, gets on the phone with Triumph, the logistics company for Amazon, says, hey, somebody get here and pick this guy up and his van. He can't drive.
Right.
There's something wrong with him. He's impaired. Something's wrong. They come get him, bring him back to the place, to the Amazon facility and the van. And then they have a word for it, but they redispatch him in under another name. Okay? So now the guy's out delivering in another van under another name, goes out and delivers freight. Doesn't get hardly any of them delivered, throws a lot of them away. They see it on the videos. Comes back to the facility, turns his thing in, gets in his personal vehicle, drives for hours until he runs out of gas. Again, still kind of in that Terrell area. Crosses over 20 over the interstate there, struck and killed. And you do have accountability and responsibility to make sure that you follow the right steps. Get HR involved, get your operations manager involved, get involved in the life of that person.
Absolutely. You need to take a personal accountability to anybody that you have an opportunity to. It's your responsibility. Mm-hmm. We are responsible to each other. No matter what happens, what goes on, we are truly responsible to the person that is next to us whenever we can. When you're out there on the road driving, you're responsible for the people that you're next to as you drive and the way you drive. Just like this story right here is amazing. You're responsible whenever you can to help the individual that's drowning or something that's going on. You do need to step forward and do something.
And this is where, and so you're saying the right thing, right? This is when you've got to do the right thing.
You have to.
Yeah, you have to. And that doesn't mean that the freight, that the trucks, that you have an open truck, right? Or you have a lot of loads sitting at the yard that have to get delivered. It's just across town. It's just across the street. It's just another load.
Doesn't matter.
You can't do, number one, you can't break the law.
Nope.
Number two, you just can't do that. I mean, at what point does life not take precedence over on-time service?
Not sure what's going on with his Walgreens truck trailer, but again, early in the morning, if I know your situation, this is about 3:20 in the morning, right? And great job by this driver recognizing it. And then the driver comes up, no turn signal, right? We're going to talk about that, making lane changes of how critical that is, but there's just, I don't see any flashers,
okay.
No turn signal going on there.
Okay, so look right after this. You can see the truck to the left has his brakes on. Something may have occurred because we can't see what's happening. Something may have occurred, but with this other truck, and this truck is just avoiding the similar situation. So as you notice, this truck moves over quickly, but you'll notice the brake lights are on that big truck to the left of it. Something may have occurred between these two trucks, or something else may have happened we couldn't see.
Gotcha. Yeah, didn't see anything in the roadway, but you're right. Something could happen between them two. Here we got a little bit of another good job, right? Debris in the road. Driver sees it. We don't see it. The driver sees it apparently, gets over and makes a nice, safe lane change. And then as you come up here, you're going to see some debris in the road in the right lane and then a little bit right there in the lane that the driver got in. So, again, great job. Look at the space here and really great speed. 55 miles an hour, had slowed it down. Just a terrific job. This is that defensive driving we kind of talked about last, and then it turned into a really nice, smooth lane change as well. Again, we got to pay attention to the lines, folks. And again, great job by this driver. Look at this is why not tailgating is so critical. This driver was able to react to an illegal maneuver by another vehicle without any incident, right? Not even a close call, no hard brake, no nothing. And it all started with the decision to stay well behind this vehicle.
Yeah, Drive Safe talks about the box trucks. Not a big fan of the box trucks as Drive Safe, Dave, because they many times don't have the same training that the big truck driver has, right?
They're classic.
Box truck, big truck, sounds a lot alike, but they're really not. Sir Rick could be in here driving this box truck right now.
Yeah, this straight truck right here that does this illegal change, it may not have the experience, also may not have the certification that a big truck driver has in a Class C license.
This next one is so critical about being prepared to stop. Almost led to a bad decision, but the speed was controlled. We're still tailgating, right? But you got to make sure you're able to stop. And we think about jumping out, but there's another vehicle in that lane, so just a great job. Still see the road. Remember, first thought has to be stop and stay in my lane, because you don't want to make the situation worse by getting into somebody else's lane.
Yeah, and I think the first thing has to be, if traffic stops, can I stop in my lane?
Yeah,
and I think that's a key thing. And again, if you're counting out loud, you know that you're gaining on this car, or that you're too close to begin with anyway. Yeah. You've got to back it up. So when this happens, you're not thinking about going that right-hand lane.
That's right. You take that out of the equation. And I think what helped, this driver was doing 38. And you can see this is a major interstate. So great job. And another critical reason why we talk so much about speed and space. Yes, we're still tailgating, but it's 38 miles an hour allowed this driver to almost make a bad decision, but still had the time to correct it because of the speed.
So at 38 seconds drive safe, Dave, how much space does this big truck need?
It still needs its good 3 seconds. It doesn't matter. We're going to talk about timing. We're not going to talk about distance. We're going to talk about time, because time is relative in all matters. So if it's 3 seconds at this speed, gives you the same basically safe distance as it's going to give you.
Yeah, we're almost 2 seconds right here, and just think about if you had another second.
Absolutely.
Just think about the space if you have one more second.
And if you look at the situation, and as you're talking about 5 lanes of traffic. You're definitely in a metropolitan area. You're not out there on the open road. You're actually running in an area where there's going to be stoppages, and you're going to incur these at a pretty frequent rate when you're in this kind of. There's a reason there's 5 lanes of traffic, right, Sir Rick? I mean, they don't just put those out there because it's your driveway.
I've never seen one going through Enid, Oklahoma.
No, you haven't.
I think that's the biggest thing about these videos, and just the statistics we've seen and showed on the show is how much 1 second can make a difference. You just don't think it in our everyday life, but probably more than anything in driving a commercial motor vehicle, 1 second can make a huge difference. And I think that's the one that's really sad to me, because I just think life and our general society says, well, 1 second, what's the deal, right?
It's 100 feet.
But it's a lot in driving.
And drive safe. When I look up on this as well, I see that yellow sign up at the very front, right? Up there on the right-hand side, that exit only, these signs here.
Oh, yeah.
And that tells you that somebody's going to make a last-second decision and cut in front of you from the left lane, going to move 3 lanes over to the right lane. And that's also what creates the backups, because people they get crazy on those areas right there. Which lane do I go into? Do I stay in those lanes that are colored? It's pretty simple to me. It says left lane or exit right lane, right 2 lanes. Well, stay in the right 2 lanes if you're going to exit. And if you're 3 or 4 lanes over, you're too far.
Yeah, and as we look at this, I'll tell you, everything is okay in this video. Is the only thing that you want to do is make sure that you can manage that space in front of you right now, in front of you all the time. That's your area to control, no matter anything else that's going on. And no matter what's happening in the left lane, the right lane, in front of you, whatever, that area right there between you and the next vehicle, that's yours to control. And by doing what you need to do and counting out the seconds or whatever it is, especially in these situations, control that area, because that's the area that you have to stop it.
Great point. We talk all the time about leaving an out, right? And you do want to leave several outs, but you don't want to you got to focus on that out in front of you, which is being able to stop. That's got to be your first out, not the lane next to you, left or right. You've got to be prepared to be able to just stay in your lane and stop. That's your first out.
Absolutely.
Next one, pay attention to the signs. Stop sign, yep. Looks like a busy intersection. And again, just a great job here of paying attention to signs. Can see the pavement as you stop, well back. Busy intersection. Good job there. It looks like it's a little windy. See some leaves rolling across the window there as well. But just a good job about obeying the signs, right, and that are coming up, that we have a sign. Because we've seen videos where that sign is either missed or ignored.
What does that say?
Well,
cross
that
traffic
sign,
doesn't stop. Is that what that says? Cross traffic doesn't
if
stop.
this sign gets missed or ignored, we got a rear end also coming on.
But this last one, again, wow, we talk all the time about how much the industry, drivers, what you can control the industry and give yourselves and the industry a good name. Look at the patience this driver shows. Let 3-4 cars in. Just realizes not going anywhere. It's not safe to make a lane change here. It's just too busy. So just stay here and be patient. Pack their patience, plenty of it. Several suitcases full of patience here as you're just letting the drivers in. Terrific job by this driver.